Hey, how's it going? I wanted to cover in this video really quickly for you guys why trusting the process is so incredibly important. What do I mean when I talk about trusting the process? I'm talking about taking risks in your life and trusting that no matter what happens, it'll work out the way you're looking for it to work out. I remember when I was just leaving my very, very last construction job, going into sales for the very first time. It was probably the very, very top 1% scariest thing I've ever done. I thought when I left high school and I got my first construction job, that first day being around a bunch of like grown men doing construction was scary, but leaving something I'd already been doing for close to 2 years to do something completely different, to sit in an office where I'm not guaranteed a paycheck was probably the scariest thing. Yet I knew in that moment, because of the several jobs that I'd left and gone to when I was doing construction, I'd always found a way to make it work. Now I'm at a position now where I'm able to make pretty good money. I'm on track to make probably a little bit over $8,000 Canadian this month. Nothing too crazy, but I am just brand new to this offer, so it'll probably scale up more. My friend Francesco and I are talking a lot and doing a lot of planning and investing in ourselves and future business. There's probably a Miami trip coming up really soon, and overall, I'm just working from home in my dream kind of office space, and things are amazing. Now, how could I have gotten here if I didn't trust the process? It wouldn't have been possible. Can I tell you right now that I would have known exactly how things would have played out? Definitely not, right? I don't think I would have gotten maybe 80% of what has happened even correct. Maybe 10 or 20% I could have vaguely predicted, but I had no clue how events would unfold. I had no clue that in, February of this year I was going to be leaving the company where I'd started sales and learned for the past, year and up until I quit. I didn't know that I'd be selling on a completely different offer now, which is way more B2B, talking to, multimillionaires as opposed to when I was speaking to, broke young kids, right? There's so many different changes that happen in life, and every single time I found that I level up little by little by little by little. And it all obviously starts with a big goal and a massive vision, a dream that you're chasing. But before you actually can get there, and I'm in the process of this, you're gonna have to take some risks. And you're gonna have to decide whether or not you're gonna trust the process or you won't. And I want to play it out for you real quick. Really, the entire premise of the video isn't to sell you way too much on this because I think you know deep down in your heart and in your mind what you need to do to really get towards those goals, towards those dreams. And it's probably not exactly what you're doing now. If it is, amazing, keep doing what you're doing. But I think for a lot of you, you feel the way I felt when I was in construction. You wake up all day, you're at work, you're checking the clock, you're just waiting for the day to pass so you can go home and actually pursue what you're passionate about. For me, it was making videos like this. I grew my TikTok account. It was up to about 8,000 followers, and I stopped because I started focusing on sales. But growing a personal brand on Twitter and on TikTok and Instagram, not really Instagram, those were my main focuses. And that's all I wanted to do all day, copywriting and this sort of a thing. Now, for you guys, I want you to be able to not only take, the action that you know you need to take, but if we play out the two options, on one hand, you take the safe route. You have that voice in your head, that kind of feeling from your heart that says to go and take that risk or quit that job or to do that thing or travel to that country, but you repress it and you convince yourself why you don't need to do it, why you're crazy and why your friends are right when they talk about why you shouldn't do it, why your parents are right. And you go down this path for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, this feeling that you got to do something else is going to be repressed and pushed down over and over and over. And you get by, you pay the bills, you maybe go on a vacation or two, you might get a girlfriend, maybe even married, and things go okay. But there's a point in your life where maybe it's like a quiet, Saturday night and your wife's on vacation with her family, or your kids are in school, or who knows what. And you sit there and it was a long day at work and it was a real tough one, and you're kind of there maybe having a glass of whiskey or a cigar or maybe a beer, but you're just sitting there by yourself, and that feeling comes back. Could you imagine what it would feel like to be 50, 60, 70 years old, knowing that that dream that you've always had inside of you, you pushed down, you repressed, and you didn't get what you wanted out of life, right? I don't think that life is supposed to be this hedonistic chase of, material wealth and goods and status forever. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about actually pursuing your purpose and the reason you were put on this planet, knowing that feeling that you have inside of you that you could never explain was something that you pushed down just because you cared about what society thought, what your family, what your friends thought, and those ideas were projected onto you, and you gaslit yourself and you convinced and you sold yourself on this fake dream that things would work out fine, and you don't really need that. How would that regret feel? Of course, one day we'll all die and it won't matter whether you lived out your dreams or you did. But in the time where we do have consciousness, none of us really know what happens after, we die. What happens if we have another life or go to hell or heaven. I'm a Christian. I think we go to heaven or hell. However, whatever it is that you believe, we know for sure that we're conscious right now. So you will have to live your entire conscious existence with that feeling of regret, knowing you didn't actually pick yourself. The other path is one where you don't know what's going to happen. You have no guarantees. Sometimes you have no plan, but you bet on yourself. You probably fail. You probably try that thing for a month, for 2 months, for 3 months, and you're paycheck to paycheck. You're barely successful. People are laughing at you, people are looking at you, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, what the hell am I doing? But just like every other person that has told the greatest story of their lives, they fail and they fail and they fail until they don't. Do you want to be able to tell a story when you're 50, when you're 60, when you're 70? Do you want to tell a story where you can say you went all in on your dreams and you bet on yourself and you said, no matter what, I'm going to trust the process, even if I don't know exactly how events will unfold? That's the kind of story I want to tell. And all of it starts with realizing one important thing. You have a purpose. You're not here accidentally. I don't care if you're an accident. I don't care if you're unplanned. You are here for a purpose. The way you impact other people's lives, whether it's your sister, your brother, your mom, your father, you may have none of those. Maybe it's the friends or the people on the street or the people online. The way you impact others and yourself matters. You're not here for no reason. In fact, look at some of the people that you may look up to. I won't even name names. I'm sure you have a whole list. Did those people believe that they have a purpose? Did they go and chase that purpose if that was a yes? I think it's safe to say that every single person that you and I may admire had a purpose. Not only were they conscious of the fact that it existed, but they did everything in their power to find it and then take action and pursue it. Right? My friend Francesco and I were talking about this a lot, and we know that there's this cool analogy he talked about, and kind of comes down to, you know, headed towards your purpose, your life's, meaning, whatever your dreams. If you were to, if I were to tell you right now, show me the direction to China, show me the direction to Beijing or Italy or something. If I dropped you on a random place in the world, and then I said that to you, would you be able to know? If you couldn't look around and I didn't tell you where you're located, could you really tell me where it is? You couldn't. Not because that location doesn't exist, but because you don't know where you're at and you don't know what your starting point is. It's important to realize you have a purpose, and it's important to figure out what it is. But what's even more important is looking at yourself in the mirror and figuring out what is your starting point. Stop repressing and ignoring the faults, the weaknesses, the problems that you have. You have them, I have them. That is completely normal, and that's what makes us human. The worst thing you can do for yourself is put it to the side, pretend like you don't have it, and never work on changing yourself. That is the equivalent of just guessing and hoping and praying that somehow, by some randomness and luck and accident, you'll eventually get to your dreams. It's not going to happen. It's a planned path where you go with intention, with action, and you may not know every single step of the way, but you need to know where you are starting. So do this. Write down on a piece of paper a couple of questions. Who am I? That is open-ended. That is not a yes or a no, black or white, up or down question. It is open-ended. You are supposed to find your own words for it. Where do I want to be? Why do I want to be there? And where am I now? Answer these questions. Do yourself that favor. Don't put this off and wait until tomorrow. Do it now and decide that you will do whatever it takes to get to your dreams, to your goals, and to fulfill your life's purpose. That is it. I appreciate you so much for watching, and I'll be coming out with an amazing school group in the future here pretty soon. Otherwise, I do sales. It's how I make some of my money. I do it from my bedroom, but I could do it in Bali or Europe or wherever I want if I want to. Go ahead and click the link in the description to join the Discord. I'm teaching people for completely free the process, the networking, the job opportunities, the mindset, all of it. There's no strings attached. Feel free to join. Otherwise, if you want to work with me one-on-one, fill out the link in the description for my Typeform. All my other links to follow my socials are there as well. I appreciate you so much for watching this video. Leave a comment if you have any questions or you just want to spread some positivity. If I wasted your time, please leave a dislike. And if you got even 1% of value and you're maybe a little bit better after watching this video, leave a like. It helps out a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching the whole thing. Catch you on the next one.